Alright everyone, welcome back. What if I told you there was a new studio in town, a new Ubisoft studio, working on The Division 2, and what they are working on is something that we've heard nothing about at this stage? Well, I found a very interesting job posting on the official Ubisoft careers page, so you know this is legit and this is not speculation. So I wanted to talk about this in today's video. Could the summit be getting a new design? Could we be getting more PvP maps? Could the summit redesign include a new PvEVP mode? Let's talk about this. Drop a like and subscribe to stay up to date with all the videos, and let's begin. Today I was going to make a video about The Division Heartland following a series of recent tweets from Redstorm that could be nothing or could be confirming that snow might make a return in The Division Heartland. More on this soon. Now, whilst preparing for that video, I thought I'd check out if there was any kind of Division 2 news worth talking about, because, you know, let's be honest here, guys, it's complete silence right now. Well, as it happens, I stumbled across this job posting on the official Ubisoft careers page, which is very interesting, very revealing, and it's definitely worth talking about. So let's go over it. So here's the job. As you can see, it says the job description is Senior Level Designer, Tom Clancy's Division 2. This is on the official Ubisoft website. And as you can see at the start here, it says about Ubisoft and Shanghai Studio. Now, I didn't know that Ubisoft Shanghai was involved in the Division 2 whatsoever. Of course, we knew Massive were involved. I think we knew that, I can't remember the name, there was another studio, I think it's Bucharest, that are working on the new game mode. And that's all I really knew. And I knew there'd be other studios kind of dipping in and whatever, but I didn't know Shanghai was involved, and I don't really know what they've done before, if I'm being completely honest with you. It does say here that they were used to create cutting-edge online games or produce fun mobile games. So I want to go down to the job description because I think this is where it gets important. So it says here, now here is a chance to join our project, the Division 2 CN version, to work on new summit design, new mode, etc. Big features. LD, I presume that's level design, with senior level who can take the responsibility of designing a new game mode with CN team. I presume CN stands for China. And it says he needs to be an expert of making PvP game map which can give advices to junior LDs. I'm not so sure people are going to be happy with the word he there, but it is what it is. So firstly, what I will say, guys, is yeah, I mean, this is pretty clear cut to me. I mean, it says here new summit design, new mode. Obviously we know about the new mode, but this is saying that there's a new summit design and there's other stuff, but it also mentions the fact that there's PvP involved in this. So yeah, this is very interesting. And as I said, this is legit, guys. This is part of the Ubisoft website. And if I go back, actually, you'll be able to see that they have more than just this one job from Shanghai working on the Division 2. Yeah, so as you can see here, we have at least, I think there's 4 positions. We have a gameplay programmer, senior lead programmer, the senior level designer, the one that we just looked at. We also have a weapon designer for the Division 2, and that job basically is, as it says, it's for rebalancing and repurposing of weapons and gear in the game. So there's no doubt that this studio are involved in the new content for the Division 2 and new summit design and new PvP stuff. So firstly, I'm not quite sure why this is labelled as for the Division 2 CN version, which I assume means China. Does that mean any new design wouldn't apply to the Division 2 outside of China? I don't think that's the case. So yeah, the wording here isn't particularly great. It does clearly state the job position is to work on the new summit design or new mode, etc. And the level designer needs to be an expert in making PvP maps, which can give advice to junior designers. I have to admit, the grammar and the kind of way this thing is worded almost feels like this is not legit. It doesn't feel real because it's just it's worded so badly. But it is part of the Ubisoft careers page, so I'm sure it is actually legit. This is a proper posting. So let's start with the first thing, the new summit design. I have no idea what is meant by that, but I think it could come down to maybe a couple of things, really. Number one, they could simply be going into the mode and making it look better rather than changing any of its kind of functionality. This is something myself and many others requested a long time ago because it doesn't look like a skyscraper to me. There's no windows to show you moving up the levels. The only time you feel high is actually after defeating the hunters when you go out on the balcony. But even then, you can't see the floor because it's just clouds. So it's still not really that great. It does feel to me more like a basement than it does a skyscraper. You don't really get that that kind of progression, that vertical progression that you'd expect from going up a skyscraper. So I'd be very happy if they went in and actually made it look good. But to be honest, if they are going to do that, I hope it's not just that, because that wouldn't be enough for me to go back and start playing that mode again. And I suggest that, I'm sure that's actually how most of you guys would think about that as well. For number 2, they actually go into Summit and change how it works. Now, I don't really have any ideas or any suggestions of how they do this, to be honest, but I personally think the Summit is wasted. On paper, the idea of climbing floors of a skyscraper to the top sounds really cool, and it actually reminds me of that film, The Raid, which is awesome. But in reality, even with the improvements they have made, it's still far too repetitive, it's far too long-winded, and it only serves one purpose at present, and that's targeted loot farming. Now, just off the top of my head, if they could go in and make it look like you're actually ascending a skyscraper, but also reduce the levels from like 100 to, say, 40, that might just make it a lot better already. Now, I understand that 40 floors doesn't really sound like a lot when you think of a skyscraper, but this is a game, and sometimes you need to make concessions just to improve the experience. Plus, modern skyscrapers, I believe, are defined as being at least 150 meters in height, and I'm sure 40 floors would achieve that. So I still think it would fit into that skyscraper kind of, if you were to look and define what a skyscraper is, I still think 40 floors would fit into that anyway. Number 3, this one I think would be cool, and is actually taken from Destiny 2's mode, Gambit. You could have 2 teams work their way up 9 levels, with the 10th having an extremely difficult boss, like hunters and that sort of stuff. Whoever clears the first 2 floors the fastest gets to invade the other team's session and attack them for a period of time or until they are downed. And you could do this every couple of levels. In Gambit, you have to bank moats, but I don't know for the Division 2. Every 2 levels, if you're the fastest, would work, I guess. I'm sure there are plenty of PvP ideas that could work around the Summit that are much better than the one that I've just thought of. So give me your suggestions in the comments down below. So that's just 3 things that I could imagine the Shanghai studio working on. The other thing, of course, is the requirements to be an expert of making PvP maps. Now, we know PvP has all but been ignored for the longest time, and this is because Redstorm, who are working on the Division Heartland, have not worked on the Division 2 for over 2 years. They were the studio who developed PvP in this game. As Massive, they only develop PvE content, which is why we've seen absolutely no PvP content for so long. I've long said the new content will not include any new PvP maps or content. The best you can hope for is some balancing and kind of bug fixes that might make the game playable and enjoyable, but that's already. And I think even Yannick's come out to say that there are no plans for any PvP stuff aside from really just making it more balanced and maybe more enjoyable. But in terms of new content, I think he's said that there's not going to be any. But this new job requirement that's been posted here, I'm not so sure that I'm right anymore. This clearly states making a PvP map. It does state it as singular, but if you take it at face value, I'm now expecting at least 1 new map. But if I had to guess, it would be more than that. This Shanghai studio is not a small studio, so I can't imagine them just going in there and creating 1 map, and then that would be it. That would also, I think the community would be even more angry at just 1 map than they would at none, to be completely honest, because that would just seem like they're just doing something for no reason whatsoever. But this might be the news that PvP players wanted to hear. So, I'm happy I'm sharing this with you guys. As I've said before, though, don't get your hopes up. This could be a mistake. It doesn't seem like a mistake. And if it was, it seems like a very odd mistake to make for an official Ubisoft job posting. But the way I'm reading it, and guys, tell me if I'm wrong in the comments down below, but the way I'm reading it here is they are talking about, redesigning the Summit and also talking about adding a new PvP map. I don't know if that would be part of the Summit, separate, I don't know. There's really no information there, but this is more than we've heard about any of this stuff. So that's why I had to get this out to you guys as soon as possible. And before anyone mentions, guys, just before I end the video, that this could be to do with the Division Mobile. The Division Mobile is the Division Mobile. This particular job is posted for the Division 2. And I'm 100% sure, I'm not 100% sure, I'm 99% sure the Division Mobile will not have the Summit mode in. So this is definitely about the Division 2. But that's it for everyone. I thought this was very interesting and it's worth sharing, as I've not heard a peep about the summit being revisited or new PvP content. As I said before, the Shanghai studio appear to be working on weapon and gear balancing also. So this does look like a very big project and a very big update that we're going to be getting. And that's probably why there's been a delay. I mean, if I had to guess at this point with this new job listings coming up, they may have decided that actually they wanted to do something about the PvP stuff and they wanted to make some further changes to like the summit, and so they delayed it. They've got another studio involved, and they're now working on this stuff in order to make the content and the update even bigger than it was originally planned. But that would just be my guess. Thanks for watching and sticking around until the end. Really appreciate it. And until the next one, epic out.